from the out of bounds to the freshman Queen, who's driving, floats it. Oh! Maryland on the right side of a buzzer beater.
If you watch any kind of basketball, you probably remember this shot by Derik Queen in the 2025 March Madness. Quite possibly the best moment in the whole tournament. But Queen won't be just remembered by that shot, he'll be remembered by his outstanding freshman season that cemented him as a top 10 pick in the 2025 NBA draft and a future NBA star. Well, that's not what everyone thinks. While Queen is almost guaranteed a top 10 pick, NBA scouts and fans are divided on the fate of his NBA career. Some think he's a future NBA All-Star and top big in the league in 5 years, even nicknamed Baby Jokic by his teammates, while others see him as merely a specialized role player off the bench. This division makes him the most polarizing player in this NBA draft. But who's right? How's it going, my friends? I'm Alexander from Load Management Media, and let's talk about it. Derik Queen had, by most accounts, a great freshman season, leading his team to second in the Big Ten and with his game winner in round 2 all the way to the Sweet 16 where they lost to eventual champions Florida. His individual numbers and performances were great, averaging 17 points and 9 rebounds per game. However, there are still doubters about how his game will translate to the NBA. So let's take a look at the strengths and weaknesses that make Derik Queen so polarizing. Firstly, Derik Queen as a big man is just supremely skilled as an offensive player. Post up, face up, off the dribble, he can score in all of these ways. He can legit bring the ball up as a big from his own half and dribble to the bucket and score if you need. His touch around the rim is heavenly also in all facets, whether off the drive on the move or around the rim from a post up. His passing is another skill he's got that he just shouldn't have for how big he is. I don't think his assist numbers do him justice. He sees the floor so well, and most of the time he makes the right read. You can use him to bring up the ball in transition, as a short roll passer, low post passer, he can do whatever. Honestly, his just overall fluidity moving on offense and feel for the game is just elite. At 6'10", as not the most muscular guy, you aren't supposed to move as freely as he does. His handle and game off the dribble just doesn't really make sense. He actually blows by some guys as well. There's a lot to like with Derik Queen with what he brings to the table, but there are some areas of his game that do leave some concern. Although his defensive numbers don't actually look that bad, pretty much everything on that side of the floor he leaves things to be desired. Right now, as a rim protector, he won't offer much in the league at all, which is a big downside that I don't believe will ever change no matter how good he gets. His switchability is not horrible due to his quickness and fluid movement, but it's just not where it's at for him compared to the offensive end of the court. I don't mind his hands for steals defensively, but his effort on that side and his rim protection are not great. And that rim protection downside is mainly due to his athleticism. Although he is quick and fluid, primarily on offense he has little to no vertical pop on either side of the ball. He won't be catching many lobs, and that lack of vertical pop is the main reason why he can't be very effective blocking shots. He can dunk the ball mainly off a dump off or a running drive pretty well, but that's about it. His overall motor is a question mark also, specifically on defense. I do think his defensive tools naturally aren't great, but I also think that a lot of his defensive problems come from just a lack of effort. Sometimes with these amazing skill and feel players, the motor can be an issue, and that seems like a problem with Queen at times. Lastly, there's a question mark about how his shooting ability will translate to the next level. In college, he was not a good shooter from the mid-range, or more importantly from 3 at 20%, but he started to knock them down in the NCAA tourney on the biggest stage he's had in his career so far. I don't mind the form, and he's got good touch around the rim and from the line. Signs point to him developing that shot at the next level, but it's definitely not a guarantee. And these concerns really make scouts unsure if Derik Queen can truly play the center at the NBA level. Derik Queen's undeniable offensive tools as a passer, ball handler, and finisher around the rim give him a unique and desirable skill set where bigs like Jokic, Şengün, and Sabonis have found success. On the flip side, his combination of below-average vertical athleticism and shooting, as well as a questionable motor, cause concerns. So how good will Derik Queen be at the next level? I believe Derik Queen's ability to hit at the next level strongly depends on the team fit, really more than any other player in this draft. His unique frame, quickness, and skill set combo will be really effective if paired with a rim protecting big who likes to stay on the perimeter to compensate for Queen's defensive shortcomings and lack of shooting. Queen also is most effective when he gets a lot of touches, similar to a Şengün or Jokic in some regards. I do think with his current touch, he will develop into someone who can space out to three. Not at an elite level, but at a level where he can be more on the perimeter and have another big who can play inside. I think right now his best fit would be in Washington with a guy like Alex Sarr. Queen is from the DMV, and I think that the Wizards can afford to swing on somebody with his offensive talent and really just star upside in general. Chicago could be interesting as well if they trade Vooch and start him at the 5 or the 4 next to Zach Collins. If San Antonio could somehow snag him at 14, that would be really great to have him coming off the bench for right now. And OKC at 15 could be a really compelling pick as well. I really think if Queen goes to one of these teams, specifically Washington, he'll be great. I have faith in that jumper getting better, and he seems like a good dude in all the interviews I've seen, so I'm not as worried about that motor. He's one of my favorite players in this draft, and I pray that he gets the success that he deserves. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and as always, stay rested. See you in the next one.